Hi and welcome to March 2025 Patreon rewards video. All right, so this month I actually did a bit of drawing, and I will just show you right away what I was doing here. So okay, so my daughter's going to junior college, and on the way to dropping her off, we were waiting at a stoplight, and there was a man that walked across the street right in front of us. And he was an older gentleman, and he was hilarious. Like his gait, the way that he was walking, the way that he had his hat over his head. He was so funny, and I thought he was so interesting. So I kind of try to take a mental note of all the things that I thought were fun about him, and I told my daughter that I wish I had my sketchbook and that I had the time to just really quickly sketch this guy, because he was such a character. And so I kind of just made a note of all the things. And at the same time, I went over and I looked to my left, and there was this lady with her dog, and she was wearing like yoga pants, really tight clothes. And she was like, I don't know, in her 60s, 70s. And she looked she looked much, I don't know how old she was, but she looked like she was an older lady. And she, like it was extremely tight clothes, so that you can just see all her shapes, and her shapes weren't they were much more fun shapes. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, look at her, I wanted to sketch her, because like she had such an interesting body type. So I took a mental picture of that. And so this is the impressions that I got from these two people. This is the guy that was walking across the street, and this was the lady further away from. And then I just kind of put them together in one drawing. But this was like just my impressions of these two characters. I came home, and right before I even started work, because I needed to get to work, I really quickly, very quickly sketched out my impressions of these two people. So this is from my head, just very quickly sketched down my impressions of the people that I got from in that small moment, you know. Like I really did, was like, if I was to draw this lady, these are the shapes that I would use and exaggerate, right? These are exaggerated ideas, like oh, if I was to really push these shapes, what would I make? And so this is what I did. So that was a fun exercise. I haven't done any sketching in my sketchbook in a while, and so this is what I ended up doing. Okay, so this month's postcard is, it's over here. Here it is. So, unfortunately, this postcard is very, very similar to last month's postcard. If I'd been paying attention, I probably would have tried to do a different pose, a different. It would have been different. Like, this is too much like last month's. However, the difference between this one and last month's is the source of the reference. This was the source of the reference, which was this sketch over here that I did in my little mini sketchbook. And so this is what I was looking at when I did the postcard. This postcard is basically this sketch over here. And for some reason, this postcard was more difficult to do than last month's, which I don't even understand why. This sketch here, my wife and I went to the mountains to just get away on Valentine's weekend. And as we were having breakfast at a little diner, a little place that we found, there was this man across from me, and he had some interesting face shapes. So I tried to draw him there on the spot. Now looking back at it, I don't think I captured anything that I liked about this man's face. I think I probably should have just thought a little bit more about how I was going to approach the drawing so that I could really push the shapes that I wanted to. But this is what came out. So what are you going to do? Very quickly, the winner of this postcard is Shopping for Noobs. So congratulations, Shopping for Noobs. You've won a lot of postcards. This is yet another one to add to your collection. Thank you so much for your years of support. I really, really appreciate it, man. I'm really, really grateful. Okay, so let's talk about the illustration that I was working on last month of Isabella. So, as you remember, I had this drawing that I wanted to do of Isabella sneaking up, and I think I had a sketchbook drawing of what I wanted. Yeah, it was something like this. This is the one that I was kind of going for. It was like that, where she's kind of sneaking up and looking. And so I talked about how I wanted that sketch. And so what I did was I fed, where is it? So I fed this drawing into the machine, into the program, the image program. In the image program, it gave me this, right? So it's not bad. It didn't give me this actually. This is a modified version. I took this and I took what it gave me and I modified it into this. And this is the erased the background version. I also had it input a couple of arguing soldiers, German officers, that sort of thing. I kind of wanted that to be in the window, right? I wanted something that would have just very angry men kind of having a discussion. I ended up going with this. I thought this is kind of what I wanted. To put together. I thought this worked. I'm like, okay, I think this is gonna be what I'm gonna go with. But here's some other stuff. And then I also needed a window. So these are windows that the program gave me. I think I went with this one. I think this is the one that I ended up going with. But there's many different windows here. Or maybe it was this one. I don't remember. One of these windows. Okay, and then here's the image from the sketch that the images from the sketch that I got, right? So see, notice how this is what it gave me. This is how I modified it. I modified it using a different program. So there's different versions of the images that I got. So this is the stuff that the machine produced. So I took that and I photo bashed it, and I put all the elements together: the window, the figure, the image of the lady here, and then the soldiers, and I photo bashed them all together, and I made an image out of it. And so that's the base that I put. So it's all photo bashed. So the window, I masked the window out of here. I put this in here. I put her, like, she had no background, so it's like, this is just like the elements that, so that took some time just to put them all together in a way that gave me a starting off point. But this is not what I want. So, and I actually didn't mind that this image was in black and white. In fact, in spite of the fact that I didn't intend it to be black and white, I'm like, you know what? This is actually gives me a good idea. Like this is a good idea. Like I don't. Why don't I keep it black and white? But let me add a little something. So, okay. So see, notice how this is green. That's wrong. This already has a mask on it, and it's got a green mask. Originally, this was a warm orange, but I masked it. It's green because what I'm going to do, what I did was I'm going to take this and make it green. So this is what I ended up turning it into. So I took all of these elements and I got rid of all the AI jank, right? And I wanted to make it feel, so like the thing about what I'm trying to do is I'm kind of inspired a little bit by Leyendecker, but also I'm not enamored with the way that the image programs overly detail everything, and I think that it has a specific look. Like these programs, these image generating programs have a very specific look that they have, and I hate them. I hate the way they look. They're terrible. They're ugly. So I wanted it to have. So I said, okay, if I took this and then if I was to do this from scratch, I would work out all the graphic shapes myself, and I would reinterpret everything, and I would, like, how would I draw? So I basically drew over everything in the way that I would do it if I hand done it, the thing, like the whole thing. And I changed a lot of stuff, and I got rid of a lot of things, and there's like a lot, like I adjusted a lot of stuff. So it took me a few hours to go over everything, and so, like, now she's lit. She's got different lights here. There's reflective light. There's just like a lot of stuff that I added to it so that it felt less jank and more like the image that I would have done had I just done everything here from scratch. But it did save me a lot of time, so I didn't have to do everything from scratch. I need to get done with this stuff as fast as possible. So that's what I did with this. Now there was another image that I started also. And this other image, I'm not going to take you through the whole process. I don't think I have it all set up like I did like before. This one I didn't have a thumbnail for. So the description that my wife had was that it was a 1940s wife, right? Blonde. So I'm like, okay, well, I really don't have anything in mind for this. I just need. So I fed the prompt into the program and rolled the dice, right? And then you just get different images. And I found one that was kind of right, kind of. So I took that image, which was a head that was right smack in the middle, right here, which is the worst, right? Because like every single time you prompt the machine to give you something, it always gives you the same ugly composition, which is exactly if you're not using the program as a photo bash in order to photo bash, if you have no ability to edit your stuff, the stuff yourself, and you're not and you have no knowledge of what a good composition is, because you're not trained in photography. For example, if you take a basic photography class, they'll start teaching you about composition. You end up getting just the same character in the middle kind of shot. So I'm like, okay, well, this is the look. The face works. The clothes doesn't work. The composition doesn't work. But the face I like. That's what I and it was like, okay. So the face I like. So how do I fix this composition? So there's special tools that called Outpaint, which allows you to expand the frame and give more detail in the frame. So what I did was I used that tool to move the character from the center and give it more room on the right hand side. So it expanded the right hand side of the picture so that she'd be off center. So like where now Isabella is, right? Then we have like the rest of the image is over here, so that it's not just right smack in the middle. Now it's a little bit more like the rule of thirds. You're breaking up the composition into the rule of thirds. So for example, in this composition, the idea here is that we have her and she's like right on this third, and then we have this line right here that this is exactly on the third, and then we have a third right here. Her eyes and this third, they just kind of cross. So your eyes kind of go here, and then there's another third right here, and this kind of and then this guy is in this quadrant. This guy is in this quadrant, and she's in this quadrant. So we have like broken up into thirds. So that's what I'm thinking when I'm coming up with the so even if I'm using an image generator, I'm thinking about composition. I'm thinking about where these things are going to be. So I'm already kind of manipulating the machine to work for me instead of just being at the mercy of the machine. I am forcing the machine to get to the point where I can actually do something with it. So what I did was I took the image from being in the middle right here. I moved the figure over here. I gave it more space over here. And then I masked off the clothes of the image so that it gave me the right type of clothes that I wanted to have for the face that I liked. And so once I did that, I had the right image in the right place. But the problem at the end, when I was looking at it, the background was over here on this side. She was the face of the figure that she was over here on this side. And that felt really off balance because when we read in the West, we read from right to left. So like the dog walked over, so we read from right to left, which means at the end is the period over here. This works because here she leads us into the composition, and then he leads us back. So like this triangle comes back and it comes around. There's like a triangle here, and this was all manually thought out by me, right? Like this is, in spite of the tools that I used, I was thinking about this composition. Okay, so it's not a machine-made thing. I put it together this way for a reason, right? That's the idea, in spite of the fact that it was a photo bashed from a bunch of machine-made images. Okay, so at least there is a human guide to all of this. So the problem was the image that I'm about to show you in a second was the figure was over here, and then we had a background that did nothing, right? Like it ended in a background that meant so what I needed to do was I needed to flip the image. I needed to flop the image so that the background was over here and it led to the figure over here in the third quadrant. And so here's the image that the machine that I ended up, the foundation of the machine. So very, very pretty lady here. This over here, she was over here, and then this background was over here. I didn't like it. The clothes was different. I changed it. This is the final composition of the image that the machine gave me. And so I'm like, okay, this is a good starting point. But again, this entire image looks generated by a machine. It just looks, there's something about it. You can't put your finger on it. It just feels off. It just feels weird, right? So I'm like, okay, but I want it to look like this. I want it to have that kind of slightly line decker graphic to it, right? I wanted to have that. I wanted to just like simplify the stuff. All the extra little, it's just too, the details are just too detailed. It's not quite a painting. It's not quite a photograph. It's weird. So I took it and I adjusted it to this. So this is what I did with it. So I added, I actually added, like, I think a filter to this so that I could just get rid of the, even it's already blurry. I needed it to feel like it was just less thought out, right? And this wasn't important anyway. This needed to just not be a thing to even look at. And then I went in and simplified everything. I just tried to get rid of as much detail as I possibly could and just leave the shapes that implied the face. I didn't want you to be distracted by all these little tiny noodlies like this spaghetti. I didn't want any of that. Just get rid of that. Just kind of give it an interesting graphic shape here. And just create a silhouette. Like, just get rid of all the detail here. Imply the detail. I don't need to see all of this tiny little... No, just get rid of all of that. Just imply. Everything needs to just be an implication. Like just like this shape of the shadow shape. I just kind of just emphasize it, like just really see how there's nothing here. I wanted a shape there. I wanted to really work out, like pull out that shape and make it something. Like I wanted to make a point of that shape, right? I didn't want it to just be a nothing. So like, and these are the kind of decisions that I would make if I was just to paint this image myself. Like this shape right here, like there's nothing here. There's just like I deliberately made a shape here because that's the like, so when you're painting something for real, like when you're doing a painting, you're thinking about these shapes, you're deliberately making shapes, and you're making a statement about the face that you see that should be there. So I got rid of the AI nebulous whatever, and then I started deliberately pulling out shapes that I would have pulled out so that it felt like somebody drew this thing, like it needed to. It was basically there. It's just that it needed a human touch because it just felt so fake. And if it just needed that thing, that said, hey, look, like this is like, so you're not supposed to look at this. It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to look at anything back here because it doesn't matter. What's all this crap? Who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Like, and then there's like all this extra. No, screw it. Like, just give me a good silhouette. Like, so that's one of the things about just going straight with whatever the machine gives you. It doesn't have decisions. Get in there, make decisions, make choices. Right? Like, so I spent a good hour, 2 hours just sitting there, just making decisions, making choices, giving it shapes, deciding what to emphasize, what to de-emphasize. I mostly just want to get rid of details because it bothers me that these machine things, they're details for detail's sake without any point. They're pointless details that tend to distract. So if my shapes aren't pleasing, it's because of my bad choices, not because a machine just happened to randomly poop them out, right? It's just my own personal bad choices. So if you don't like some of the shapes, it's because of me and not because of whatever came out. So this, of course, was less work. In spite of everything that I said, it was actually still less work than this, which required many more images, much more getting rid of stuff and see, like, even the expression here, I changed the expression. So first of all, you can now see her friggin' eyes, but she was looking at nothing. So I made it so that she was actually looking here. That's another thing. The way that the machine gave me, so it's interesting. The machine gave me some images that I showed earlier, and I didn't like that her head was in the position that it was. So I have another program, and it's an amazing program because what it does is it takes an image. It could be any photograph. It doesn't have to be it could be a painting. And what it does is it maps out the image. It maps out what's a head, what's a body, and then there's sliders. And what it does is, like, if you have a person that's looking straight ahead, you could use the slider to move the head like that, have it look up and down, or turn it all the way to profile. It's freaking magic. Like, that's amazing. Like, you take a flat image and you turn the head. So that's what I did with this. Like, some of the images that I kind of liked, it was 2 3/4, and then what I did was like, no, I want this full profile, and I want her head tilted up a little bit, and that's what I did. I brought, and I was like, oh my gosh, this thing, man. So these useful tools. You know, like, I'm not gonna be complaining about this stuff. It's good stuff. Like, if you screw up your painting and you're like, you know what, I should have adjusted his head a little bit more without having to repaint the whole thing, you could actually, like, move the head. It's amazing. So yeah, like, cool stuff. So yeah, like that. So these are the 2 images that I ended up with. And the process that I took. And so, like, I've got another one that I'm going to be working on. She's the husband of, this here, she is her sister-in-law. Okay, so that's who that character is. So we have her, and then we have, this is the sister-in-law, and then we have the brother. And the brother is who I'm going to be working on next. So her brother needs to look a little bit like her, right? So so my inspiration for her face is Lauren Bacall, but so I kind of feed Lauren Bacall into the prompt, but I also kind of add, I think I add Lauren Bacall, and then I modify it digitally so that it's not completely Lauren Bacall. So at least I have, like, that germ of the look. So the guy has to also have a little bit of that lady in his look. So I'm playing with that. It's going to be interesting. So that's what I'm going to be working on next. And again, this one does also, it's going to be just like this one, where it's just going to be roll of the dice, and then I'm going to modify the composition to work with something that I want. Again, like this, rule of thirds. Here's the third. She's right on the third here. Then we got so like we have this third, then this third, and she's on this third here. Or right on the line of this third, so that it's balanced like that. And then this thing, which was just an accident of the generation, works. This balances off. This balances her. So I was like, okay. And then this here helps because it balances. It does the rule of thirds thing. So if there was nothing here, I would have to put it in here. But since it was already here, I might as well just leave it, right? So there may be some things here, like this is off. So I probably should have fixed it. Maybe I'll do that before I give it to my wife to completely to use. But yeah, so I think this maybe I'll need to fix so that it at least lines up because it's off. But otherwise, I think that's it. So all that to say that these are the images here on this. So these are the things that I did this month. I've done more sketching in my sketchbook since then. There's more stuff all around this page here, and there's other pages where I started fleshing this guy out. So one of the things here that's going on is that I really like this this figure, this cowboy reaper. So I've started fleshing him out more. And I even did some sketches of some, like, if I was to do a little mini comic book story with him. I've already started coming up with ideas for that, and I even started, and I did some thumbnails for that. And I don't know if I'll ever finish them or I'll ever do them, but they're there. I needed to set them down because they came into my head. And the images just kind of came into my head. I just wanted to lay down the thumbnails for that, so I'll be sharing that next month. Yeah, and I'll show you what I was thinking about, what like the rest of this guy's body looks like, who he might be. But again, it's still part of the whole memento mori idea that I've I turned 50 this month or last month, yeah, so like now I'm having like that midlife crisis where like I'm just thinking about, okay, well now I'm going straight downhill. I'm gonna meet this guy soon. Who is this guy? Who is this reaper that I'm going to meet someday? So that is where my head is at. That's why I keep drawing all these skulls and all this death, because that's where my head's at. Yeah, very, very good news, like, to end this video off. All right, so thank you for your patronage. Thank you for listening to what I've got to say, some of the ideas that I have to put forth, and thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot that I have patrons that are supporting me like this. It really does. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye. So I'm happy to announce that I now have a new drawing lesson called Drafu Guide to Sketching and Gesture Foundations. It's the beginning of the level 2 information that people have been asking me for the drawing website, which will teach you where to start drawing, what to draw when you draw, how to draw from observation, how to draw from imagination, how to draw what you envision, and how to discover what you ought to envision if you don't have anything specific in mind. So if you find any of this interesting, you could follow the link that you see, or you can go to thedrawingwebsite.com, look under level 2, and you'll find a link there.